And then finally onto the big one, the big result of the weekend. The Springboks, did it in the last 5 minutes. Did the game go as you expected it?
No, not at all. I was caught by surprise early on by the way the Springboks tried so hard to keep the ball in hand. They definitely sort of went against their instincts. I thought that they were going to do the old-fashioned sort of what they say, in Afrikaans they say sagmaak, first of all, where the forwards assert themselves. There's quite a bit of strategic kicking, but the Boks seemed hell-bent on a sort of ball-in-hand approach, which led to a few sort of nervy moments. And of course, we know that for 3/4 of that game, Australia was so much in the picture. And the thing was that Australia was so resolute and committed defensively, far more adhesive than we've seen them for some time in that respect. So they almost caught the Boks off guard there. And when the Boks did try to spin the ball, they often sort of ran up blind alleys and then weren't quite sure how to proceed from there. So a very nervy test match. It was always an intriguing game. I think a lot of purists would have quite enjoyed it. And I mean, I felt in the stadium that there were 45,000 people there, and I haven't for a long time seen people sort of stay in their seats for so long after a game, sort of talking about it. Did that really happen? And of course, they're all referring to those last 10 minutes, which were fantastic from a Springbok point of view. As much as anything, a display of good tactical appreciation from Heine Kamer about how to use his substitutes. His policy of having massive experience on that bench really paid off, because not just Skalkberger, who was fabulous, but JP Peterson, Bakkies Botha, Pat Lambie, also fantastic when he came into the fly-half channel, and even Kobus Reinach getting a little sort of 3 or 4 minute debut and making 2 absolutely fantastic breaks to sort of show his pedigree as well. So the fact that the Boks managed to suck all that energy out of the Australians eventually, kept their composure and got over the line, made for a fantastic finish. But I've got to say, with 10 minutes remaining, you would not have thought that there was this snowball's chance of the Boks getting the bonus point. Unfortunately, of course, it doesn't really matter now. But they. You could see that afterwards, the sort of lap of honour that they did, the way they saluted the crowd for their sort of constant encouragements for the cause, the fact that they didn't give up hope that the Boks would actually get over the line. I think that they made a good statement for the World Cup about composure and about how they are trying to bring variety to Springbok rugby, which is obviously a good development a year out from the World Cup.
I mean, Rob, the replacements haven't always had that much impact in the past. I mean, why did it just seem to click this time?
Yeah, it was. I think a certain risk was taken. I think Heine Kamer admitted that there are certain players like your sort of Bismarck du Plessis, Bakkies Botha, who are far more used traditionally to starting matches, to sort of getting involved in those early exchanges, and it's not their natural instinct to come on as substitutes. But the way they adapted was quite fantastic, and of course they needed to, because the Boks also started to get a few injuries in sort of some critical positions. Victor Matfield ended up having to be on the blindside flank for the last few minutes, and yet did a decent job. We know what an athlete he is, so he's quite capable of doing that job. And Bakkies Botha coming into the second row alongside Eben Etzebeth in some ways just helped give the Springboks that bit more grunt and go forward, which was obviously vital in the end, because eventually the Boks did sap the Australian energy, which had been quite admirable up to that point. And let's not forget that the Australians came within an inch of the try line a couple of times to possibly putting that game to bed. So the Boks would have, as much as there would have been delight, there would also have been relief that they actually completed the business.